Hi everyone, so today I'm going to talk about neutrophils. These are white blood cells and they're the most abundant immune cell in the human blood. They're known as the immune system's first responders, rushing to infection and injury within minutes. So first we're going to start with its pathway of development. And so they begin in the bone marrow. They develop from hematopoietic stem cells along the myeloid lineage under the influence of GSF, or granulocyte colony stimulating factor. And GSF levels can rise in response to cytokines and Toll-like receptor activation, which signal the body to boost neutrophil production during inflammation or infection. So from the hematopoietic stem cell, we move to the myeloid progenitor cell, which gives rise to neutrophils and other immune cells like monocytes, eosinophils, and basophils. And right here, we see the stages of neutrophil maturation. It goes from a myoblast to a promyelocyte, myelocyte, metamyelocyte, band cell, and then finally the mature neutrophil. So as they mature, neutrophils accumulate different granules, primary, secondary, and tertiary, and secretory vesicles that prepare them for microbial killing. So this entire development process is very tightly regulated, but in serious infections, the body can trigger something known as emergency granulocytosis, which is causes the rapid producing and releasing of neutrophils in response to a threat. And circadian rhythms can also play a role in neutrophil release. For example, helping the body prepare to face challenges during waking hours. And then as we move down here to the life cycle of a neutrophil, as I mentioned before, they begin in the bone marrow from hematopoietic stem cells. And once they mature, they're stored in the bone marrow reserve until they're needed. It's important to note that mature neutrophils don't divide. They're terminally differentiated. And so when they are released, they circulate in the bloodstream for 6 to 10 hours, constantly just surveying for danger. And if there's no infection, aging neutrophils are returned to the bone marrow and cleared by resident phagocytes. But in the case of infection, trauma, or inflammation, neutrophils detect chemokines released from damaging tissues or immune cells, and this triggers a rapid response. First, they adhere to the endothelium, and they migrate out of blood vessels, a process called extravasation. And once in the tissue, neutrophils deploy their effector functions, which is phagocytosis of pathogens, degranulate, which means releasing toxic enzymes and proteins that destroys the pathogens, or they can undergo netosis, which is DNA. They release DNA traps to sort of capture microbes. And after doing their job, neutrophils can undergo one of several fates. They can go through apoptosis, which is programmed cell death, degranulation-induced death, or netosis, which is more of like an inflammatory form of cell death. And they can also be cleared by macrophages. And neutrophils are most abundant in situations like bacterial and fungal infections, acute inflammation or injury, burns, trauma, cancer, autoimmune diseases, where they are inappropriately activated, severe viral infections, and even after corticosteroid use due to changes in neutrophil trafficking. And then we can go down here to see how neutrophil levels are measured. So, to assess neutrophil levels, the CBC with differential is used, which gives us the absolute neutrophil count, or ANC, and the formula is ANC equals percent neutrophils plus percent bands multiplied by the white blood cell count divided by 100. And this number just reflects how many neutrophils are actively circulating in the blood. So if neutrophil levels are elevated, it's called neutrophilia, while if neutrophil levels are low, it's called neutropenia. And so here I have a little chart, and if an ANC value is greater than 7,500 cells per microliter, this suggests neutrophilia, which is often due to acute bacterial infections or stress. And you can see the normal levels, the high normal here, the mid-mild neutropenia here. And if the ANC value is below 500, this means severe neutropenia, which is a medical emergency due to high risk of sepsis and life-threatening infections. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed.